Thank you for staying with us right here on Sunrise as we continue this Thursday morning. Well, we've all had that call, a private number on your phone that you avoid answering. Searching through your mind, trying to think, who do I owe money to? Did I pay that account? Could it be lawyers? Well, that chilling feeling that reminds you that you still owe someone money. However, what many consumers don't know is that running away from the problem or avoiding that phone call actually doesn't solve the problem. Or does it? Well, joining us this morning is Salem Dyafta from the Office of the Credit Ombudsman. And we're talking about prescription of debt, which means that debt is extinguished after a certain period of time. But how does that actually happen? Well, remember, you can be part of our conversation by giving us a call on 011-447-1742 or 011-447-1620. Your comments are also welcome on our Facebook as well as our Twitter pages. Salem, good morning to you and thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Penny. Thank you for having me.
Well, now, the scenario that we just sort of like painted there, it's something that a lot of us South Africans, I mean, under the times that we're living in, we're dealing with on daily basis.
Yeah.
But what is the best way really to deal with that?
Okay, I think one thing that's important for consumers to know is that running away and hiding never ever solves the problem.
Yes.
One thing they must remember is that for every time they call you, every time they send you that SMS or that email, it is charged to you. So if they're going to call you 3 times a day, whether you answer the call or not, it's still charged to you. So you are just making the problem bigger. It's best to answer and to understand what is it that they're talking about. If it's debt, what debt is it? When was it last paid, or whatever the situation is, or your situation as well as a person. You know, sometimes a person took out debt when they were a student and now they're an adult, you know, it's been a while, or whatever the case may be. But what's important is that you must answer that call. Be it that you're going to make arrangements, be it that you're going to raise some sort of defense against it, whatever the reason is, answer the call.
Okay. All right, so obviously, you know, people avoid the call. We avoid the calls because we like, I don't want to engage right now. But let's talk about what prescription of debt is about and how does it work?
All right, so as a consumer, you know, we go through the whole process of acquiring debt. And sometimes things happen in life and you're unable to pay the debt. If from the time you defaulting mean this debt was due, but you didn't make the payment. And a 3-year period passes. You have not made payments towards the debt. You have not acknowledged the debt itself. And the credit provider or the lender has not taken legal action against you pertaining to the debt. You can claim prescription, or you are no longer liable for that debt.
Okay. But what if they have, you know, taken you to lawyers?
If they have taken you, then it means that the debt has not prescribed. Only when there's been that silent period whereby no payment was made, no contact, no legal action, and you have not acknowledged it, be it verbally, be it in writing, you have not acknowledged the debt. Then after the 3 years, it expires, you are not liable for it.
Okay, so when does one become, I mean, what happens in the case where one is blacklisted?
If you are blacklisted, or the term that they use now is negatively listed, for a debt that's prescribed, you can actually lodge a complaint to say, it's been so many years, I have not acknowledged the debt, they have not taken legal action, etc. But I find that there's a negative listing in the credit bureau, in my credit report. You can lodge a complaint because the law states, the National Credit Amendment Act, that credit providers cannot list for debt that's prescribed. Also, they cannot collect on debt that's prescribed. So consumers, in essence, should not be getting phone calls or letters or messages pertaining to debt that they have not heard of 3 years and over. Yes.
Okay, but I mean, is that something that's very prevalent, that people find themselves being listed for debt that they know nothing about, that they've never been contacted before?
So when you know nothing about the debt at all, or you haven't taken it, that's a different conversation altogether. Chances are you are a victim of identity theft. But in a case whereby you and I are adults now, we took out debt when we were students. We probably forgot about it, or it's a store that closed a long time ago. We probably forgot about it, or we thought we had closed it or paid it up. Meanwhile, maybe there were some fees that were still running and that have now escalated. But the bottom line is, if that time period has left, imagine, Penny, if we didn't have this law and credit providers could be quiet for like 10 years, for example, and then come back and the interest are sky high, the fees are sky high. So it's there to protect the consumers as well, to say, while it's fresh, collect on it, take legal actions, do whatever you need to do. Because you're also implying that the consumer doesn't owe anymore when you are going to be silent and not take action for all this time. So it's there also to help protect the consumer as well, you know. So if, for example, you can't remember it, chances are it has prescribed, you know, because you are given the 3-year period where if you haven't acknowledged it, the credit provider has not taken the legal action. Yes, they might have listed you in the credit bureau in a form of a default, but if they haven't gone to court for it, it's still then after 3 years prescribes.
So as the Office of the Credit Ombudsman, I mean, what kind of inquiries or queries do you get a lot from consumers, and how do you normally help them?
All right, so consumers would come to us and say, the last time I paid this was 5 years ago, and I haven't heard from them ever since. You know, sometimes, you know, when they say calls are recorded, in a case that we wrote about where a credit provider would then say, no, but we contacted the consumer, we would then request a call recording. And if something like this doesn't come forth, then the debt, if the debt, for example, they say the person owes, it would then need to be written off. If it's listed in the credit bureau, it would need to then be removed from the consumer's credit records, because there shouldn't be information that negatively affects the consumer that's pertaining to a debt that has expired or has prescribed.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's take a caller. We've got Johan on the line calling from Vanderbijl Park, I think. Hello, Johan.
Hallo, kan ek maar Afrikaans praat?
Okay, I don't understand Afrikaans, so I don't know. Do you understand Afrikaans? Okay.
Okay, ja. Ek wil net gou uitvind, nee. Ek wil net uitvind kan hulle jou kyk by die bank jou kredietrekord?
Can you repeat it?
Okay. Can you get what? Your credit record at the bank.
Kan die bank
Ja?
jou kredietrekord vir jou kyk gratis sonder dat jy daarvoor moet betaal?
Okay.
Okay.
Will the bank give you a credit record for free?
Ja, dis al.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
So,
bye.
Bye. Thanks, Johan.
a credit record is available at the credit bureaus for free. All consumers are entitled to one free credit report every 12 months from the credit bureau. They can come to the office of the credit ombudsman as well. We will help with the process of getting your credit profile. It is available. I'm not sure. Maybe banks have got an extended offering to their clients. I don't know about that, but you are entitled to a free one. And if you want it within the 12 months after you've gotten your free one, you can. It is available for purchase. I know there are many different channels of getting it where you pay as well, as long as it is something that you will get, that it comes from the credit bureaus.
Okay. So from what I understand is that if you've had you've had a debt and then 3 years has gone by and you haven't had anything about it, and suddenly the lender contacts you, they can't do that.
All right. What's important there, Penny, is that what we see consumers do they get this phone call, right? And they say something like, oh, yes, I remember this debt, you know? So they start acknowledging the debt.
Okay.
So even if it's after 4 years or 5 years, if you acknowledge the debt, it unprescribes.
Oh.
So you are cancelling now the prescription of that debt.
Okay.
Sometimes the credit providers or the debt collectors would phone you and say, just make a minimum payment of 20 rands or 50 rands, and a consumer goes and makes that minimum payment. That then reverses that process of the prescription.
Okay.
So it's very important that a consumer knows when the debt has prescribed, and then they don't acknowledge that debt, or they don't make payment towards that debt. Because when you make payment towards the debt, you are actually starting it, you're cancelling the prescription of the debt.
So, okay, does it cost money to lodge a complaint with the credit ombudsman?
It's free of charge. Free of charge. Even, I mean, some consumers would say, because we've had instances where a consumer was due for a refund, and consumers would think that the credit ombud office would then take a percentage. Everything is free of charge. Lodging a complaint with us, there is no charge whatsoever.
Okay. Is there a contact number of how people can get more information?
There is. People can call us on 0861 662 837. Some consumers would say they would rather we call them back. They can send us an SMS. Our SMS line is 44786.
44786.
They can just write the word help or their name, and we will call them back.
All right, great stuff. Thanks very much for talking to us. Of course, Salem.